just have to enforce what the fire marshal says, or we'll get in trouble. Nobody wants the fire department to show up here, scooting people out. So we understand that everyone wants to hear the cases before us tonight, and participate in the public process. However, per the Scott County Fire Marshal, the Scott County third floor fiscal courtroom total capacity occupant load is 60 individuals, including everyone up here. For the purpose of fire safety, the room has been set up so that there are 60 chairs available for no greater than 60 individuals. So if all the chairs have been taken, the room is at capacity. Again, bringing chairs in from other rooms is not okay. We can only have 60 seats in the room and 60 people in those seats. All doorways must remain clear of individuals or items, and no individuals can stand in the doorways or aisles. Approximately 10 individuals, capacity-wise, can be in the break room. All others need to be in the hallway or in the conference room that is across the hallway. If you go out this door, it's straight across the hallway. I know it's not ideal. I know it's going to require some coordination of folks cycling in and out, but
Can they hear in that conference room?
there's no audio into
audio
that.
over there.
Unfortunately, with the way that the system is set up, we can't add another meeting to it or something like that.
Yeah,
And so what we have is what we can do
yeah.
today.
And the microphones, yes. I am, but the mic doesn't amplify, the mic just records, so I'm speaking as loud as I can. So unfortunately, the mic doesn't amplify it, it just sends it to the recording. If everybody would, on the commissioner side, make sure your mics are turned on, at least for the recording.
Yeah, especially with the fan noise, we really
Yeah.
need to be really aware of those mics.
And I apologize for the hot
No.
temperature, we don't control that either. I did text Joe Pat Covington, even though he's in Italy, and tell him how discontented I was with the situation, but it's not gonna change anything.
Not working.
No.
All right, well, at least says it's
Well-
working and blowing cold air, but we have so many people in this room right now that it was off for a while, so it probably is not gonna cool down while we're sitting here.
Just so you know, my mic's not working.
Oh, it's, okay, we'll have to share mine. Harold's mic.
I'll let the technical people at the county know about that and also the whole not recording.
Yeah, the wire's broken.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we are going to switch the agenda around a little bit because we do have an item that's going to be postponed. Rather than the postponement needing to sit through all of the discussion for the other items, we're going to move that, but we'll have a motion here in a minute to do that. And we're also going to move the audit. So with that said, I think I officially opened the meeting. First item of business is approval of June invoices. Any discussion, questions from commissioners?
Make the motion to approve it.
Okay, Mr. Jesse makes a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Okay. I'll go with Mr. Garrett here. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Approval of June 12th, 2026 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Yes?
Yes.
Any comments, questions, changes? Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Well, we need a motion first.
Oh, I thought it was already made. I'm
Motion,
sorry.
Mr. Stone, no, that's all right.
I'll make the
Do I
motion.
have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Melissa?
Whatever.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on now to the agenda. As I mentioned, we're going to move some things around. First, items for postponement or withdrawal. Currently in new business, we already have Pleasant Valley Phase 5, both the zone change as well as the preliminary subdivision plat. Both of those are already on the agenda as postponed. In addition, I believe that item B, the McMillan property, there's a request for postponement of that, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm Dick Murphy here on behalf of Anderson Communities on full business item B, ZMA 2026-22 McMillan property. As a result of the discussion we had at the workshop, we need to amend our plan. Obviously, that'll have to come back to you next month. So we are requesting a postponement for 1 month on that ZMA.
All right. I guess, do I need to have an official motion? I don't have to open the public hearing for postponement.
Oh, no.
Okay, just have a motion. Okay.
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
postpone.
Mr. Jesse made the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Stone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next month. All right, one additional change, and we're gonna move the audit up. Do I need to do a motion for that too, or just?
No, you
All right.
just pull it.
So we do have the approval of our FY 24-25 audit on here. We want to go ahead and get that out of the way before we start the discussion on the other things, since we discussed it at workshop on Monday. So you might, yeah, let two people know they can come in now. All right, is our CPA here?
We do not see him.
All right, I guess we won't move that to the front. He's missed his, okay, he's missed his opportunity to go early. All right, if for anybody that's in the room, and we'll have to handle this a little bit challenging in terms of swearing in, Mr. Perkins, because anybody that's not in the room obviously can't swear in.
Well, we'll swear everybody here, and then when they come in to speak, or they're recognized to speak, we can ask.
Okay.
And then swear at that point.
Anybody that's here to speak, please make sure that you've signed in, and the sign-up sheet is in the break room here to my right. And if you are here to speak, plan to speak, stand up, raise your right hand, and Mr. Perkins will swear again.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you're to make tonight to be the truth to the best of your information or belief? Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask you a question before you begin?
Sure.
We're here for the Cherry Hill situation.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't hear you out there. Did you postpone it?
No, the McMillan property was the one postponed. We're gonna hear the Cherry Blossom one tonight.
Now, this is gonna seem stupid, but the reason I'm asking you this is there's several hundred people in that area. And if they really can't get in that room, what's the purpose of meeting in this room? I would propose a motion that we meet, because it's too important of an area for half of us to be out long. I would propose a motion that we are allowed to meet in a room that's big enough to seat everybody so we can have it. Because it's really not fair if half of us have to stand out in the hall.
I'll look to Mr. Perkins to see procedurally. I know that it's been postponed 3
Well,
times, but that was on the
Yeah.
developer side.
Well, first off, I got to say that the gentleman has a point, because state law actually says we're supposed to provide appropriate facilities to hear what needs to be heard. Clearly, we've underestimated the capacity of our regular room. It would probably, as much as I hate to even say it, but it would certainly comport with state law.
Okay.
If we were to postpone this, have staff make arrangements for a larger room.
And a date to be determined based off of room availability?
Well, to be determined, we've got to redo all the notices and all that.
All right.
So,
sitting
it's,
here-
well, I guess it's kind of a chicken and the egg, because how do we go out and make arrangements if we don't, anyway?
If we don't, yeah, and if we, how do we know a date if we don't?
Yeah, how do we do either one?
Like, we could say the library, but we would
Yeah.
have to confirm that with
So-
availability of the
I will give you a building. You know, we've got a building that'll seat 350 people.
Does it have air conditioning?
Is it open right now? Can we just go?
No, we'll have to propose a motion up here.
So we will need time as staff to evaluate all spaces to determine if it can meet our recording needs and the capacity needs that we have. So while we have some proposals for it, we will need a little bit of time to evaluate and find somewhere to go.
Just out of curiosity, where's your building?
I passed Trinity Assembly of God, so it's a neutral area.
Oh, out north of town?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look into that. We can, if this individual wants to leave their information with us, we can look into that.
as a potential spot.
Otherwise, I mean, the library is always a good spot, but I can't speak for the library's availability on our regularly scheduled meeting date. And if they can do the recording as we need.
How about one of the schools?
At least if this is gonna happen, this is the auditorium at the schools.
We can do it all. We can do recording, we can do live streaming.
Okay, well, we don't have to decide
We'll-
right now where it is.
We will evaluate our options. We'll look at the schools, we can look at the library, we'll look at any willing churches or private areas that can accept us. Where possible, we prefer like a neutral location that's publicly owned, like the schools or the library, but I can't exactly speak to their availability with summer schedules and everything.
So we
So-
will make or
Well-
someone can make a motion to.
I'll make a
Well, just a minute, to postpone the meeting to a date to be determined based off of availability of appropriate space that meets the.
That's space and technical needs.
Space and technical needs, correct? And then we'll have to do public notification again once that
Yeah.
date's determined.
I'll make
Okay,
that motion.
okay.
Postpone it till we
Mr.
get the
Jesse,
technical and correct bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, let's do roll call. Mr. Stone?
Did you call that out for the minutes, Taker, to make sure we got who made the motion to make second?
Yes, I did. I said Mr. Stone made the second.
I thought Brad did.
Oh, I thought, well, I saw Mr. Stone second it.
I thought you was asking who done it, but anyway, yeah, I vote.
You
for it,
did,
yeah.
okay.
I vote
Okay.
yes.
Who, okay, so is it Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. We're gonna do roll call. Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Mr. Green?
Yes.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Date to be determined and communicated.
Yes, why don't, if it,
This
if
needs
the
to
board
happen
maybe,
in 30, this needs, if we're gonna postpone this needs to happen within 30 days.
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or to find a time.
Yeah.
If I may advise, the board give 5 minutes to clear the room for all the individuals, and we will
Perfectly.
advertise in the newspaper, and otherwise, if we have to do a special call.
And maybe we can talk about a date that at least from the commission side, we can get a quorum
Yeah,
before we
just a
end
couple
tonight.
alternative dates might be good,
Yeah.
but that could be other business.
Okay, so anybody that's here for the cherry blossom, we're gonna pause for 5 minutes, let anybody who was here for that clear out, and then we have a couple of items remaining on the agenda. All right.
She ran out screaming just a minute ago.
Sorry, I was just speaking with technical stuff.
Okay. All right. While Mr. Woodall's still here, it might be good for us to go ahead and talk about tentative dates. That way.
Can we wait until Holden comes in? He's on his way.
Okay.
As
So
much as I would love to talk
the
about
audit, the CPA still not here either?
not business as usual.
Probably stuck on the interstate.
Hopefully, Mr. Woodall, can you hold for a minute till we go through one agenda item? And I just think it would be better if you were here as we don't have a date. Okay.
Doc, will you close that door? I don't
Do
want
we
to get
need
audio.
to?
Yes, we need to be able to record. And it's too loud with the people in the audience. I don't know why
You
want
think
to
you've seen me mean before, not really.
We haven't.
No, it's way worse than this, I promise.
You have a recording of that?
Ask John Singer.
Okay, I'd go see that man.
The one might have seen it sometime in Toyota. I don't know. All right. Moving on then on the agenda to other business. PDP 2007-43, Scott County Safe Storage.
Hey, Jess, can you close that door?
Yes.
Good evening.
Thank you.
My name is Mark Carper, staff for the Planning Commission. I hadn't really anticipated getting to present this early in the evening, this being at the end of the agenda, but here we are. So this is PDP 2007-43. This was approved, as you might guess, in 2007. It's gone through a different variety of iterations in terms of the final development plan. Some questions were raised regarding some of the standards that are before some of the conditions, and as the development plan progressed through those iterations, we received a request for a variance from some of those requirements, which were conditioned upon the approval in 2007. That's why we're here tonight. So this is for Scott County Safe Storage Phase 2 Preliminary Development Plan Amendment. This property is asking for a variance of two types. One is for parking, and one is for vehicular use area for the interior landscaping. This is in the Pioneer Plaza area, just south of town. This shows a location. What I've done here is I've kind of divided this plaza into three different parcels. And they're labeled on each one in yellow print, sort of the bottom right or portion of each of those particular parcels. I'll go very briefly through the history of this kind of development. I want to be clear in terms of how I'm referencing these particular parcels. So I might interchange between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is referring to actually Parcel 2. It is labeled there. This is already developed mini storage. That particular property is owned by American Mini Storage, as is the American Mini Storage Plaza. You see the label there in Parcel 1. The item, or the parcel, or the site being reviewed tonight is parcel number 3, and it's labeled up there Scott County Safe Storage Phase 2. Approval of Phase 1 was completed in 2006. Approval of Phase 2 was done in 2007, so close linear proximity to each other. So this is the area of town. This shows the zoning. This is Zone B2, as many of the parcels around there are. It is adjacent to A1 property, and it's very near the green space, as you can see labeled there as well. In terms of the history of this particular development, we had a subdivision of the Risk property that created the beginning of the different parcels, what would become the three different parcels listed there. We have later on a development of parcel number 1. This becomes the American Mini Storage Plaza. We have, the approval of Phase 1. Again, this is parcel number 2. This was done in 2006. What this shows is the originally approved landscaping plan, interior landscaping plan based upon the VUA for interior landscaping. There was an amendment to this, and this was shared with me by the applicant. And this is important to note in regards to this adjustment and how the VUA was calculated. The VUA is vehicular use area. Based upon that, you have perimeter landscaping, and based upon the quantity or the size of that VUA, a certain amount, 10% of that calculation is supposed to be dedicated interior landscaping. VUA is defined as basically anywhere where a vehicle or trailer can roll or be parked. So for this particular approval of this site, the VUA for interior landscaping purposes included 3 components, not the entirety of the site, and those are shaded in the dark gray or the medium gray. That includes the space or the area, each of the required parking spaces, and the parking spaces that are required is 1 parking space per 10 units, or storage units. So the area of those required parking spaces were counted. What they call the aisle width. The aisle width is an area directly behind the parking space so you can enter and exit to maneuver your vehicle. And then the area of the entry drive into the facility and accessing those parking spaces. So what it did not include is the space between, or the area between the buildings, those drive aisles, or much of the perimeter drive aisles. So only those 3 components were included in that calculation, and that was approved in 2006. In 2007, Phase 2 got preliminary approval as well. In this particular plan, you can see that it did include parking. On this site, it shows 24 parking spaces. There were 263 units initially, and with that many units, 27 parking spaces would be required. 24 could fit on this site in this iteration. Oddly enough, for the other 3, they did convert or dedicate 3 of the previously reserved parking spaces for RVs for parking spaces for the site. So that was permitted at that time. So you see the parking spaces kind of a blue tone on this particular slide, and you see these little green areas at the bottom of those buildings. That was the interior landscaping dedicated based upon the area only of the parking spaces. It did not include the aisle widths or the driveway itself, so that would have been something that had to be remedied. And in regards to why it would need to be remedied, I would like to review the conditions of approval, pointing out to 2 things. First, number 11, if there's any revision or amendments to the approved plan, it needs to come before you. It is here before you because there is requested revision or amendment to this. And item number 6, or condition number 6, that the VUA interior landscaping for this particular development should be consistent with that in Phase 1 of this development. Phase 1, if you recall, it included the area of the parking spaces themselves, the area of the aisle widths, and the area of the drive entering into and accessing those parking spaces into the facility. So that's what would have been required.
So 6 and 11 have changes to them versus our copy?
These are the conditions that were imposed at the approval in 2007.
Oh, got it, okay.
For Phase 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit swoony myself from the heat.
It's okay.
Okay. So the request for 2 variances, this is the statement presented by the applicant. There is a note on the first one. It's within a brackets. There should have been a negative there, so that was included after discussion with the applicant. So essentially, these variants are asking for a reduction in the parking requirements from the required 28 spaces down to 0. 28 spaces would be required typically according to ordinances because there are 279 units, and so each unit needs to have, each 10 units need to have a space, and there needs to be a space for an employee. No office is proposed for this, so no employees are proposed to be on site, so there'd be no parking spaces required for employees based upon this. This follows the assumption that the sort of customer service and other parking needs might be addressed by accessing Phase 1 site, and some of the language indicates that they were being developed as a unified series of progressions. So there is this particular variance, and also being that there's no parking presented, that there would be no VUA calculations, and thus no landscaping. So my attempt here is to address each of these particular requests and do it in a fairly concise, quick, and understandable fashion. You guys are equipped with 3 ways by which you can grant a variance. There's the most common one by state statute, that's KRS 100.243. And in that one, basically there has to be something unique about this property that doesn't allow them to conform to regulations. And then if they didn't get the variance, it would impede upon their ability to use that property or to have a hardship. In regards to this application, don't really believe that that's applicable. It is a large, flat area, rectangular in shape, so there's nothing really unique about it. And if these variances were not granted, they could still utilize the property. So I don't think there'd be hardship imposed. You cannot use that one, in my opinion. The second option listed here is B. You can grant a variance for the purpose of encouraging flexibility and economy in site design if the intent and purpose of these regulations and the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan are substantially met. So that's what I like to focus on in terms of analyzing these requests. The third one, basically there's a physical condition that doesn't allow the development without a variance. Again, that's very similar to the first one. I don't think it's relevant in this particular one. Since I'm stating or giving the opinion that this particular method for evaluations would not be applicable in this case, I'll go ahead and pass by on this one. In regards to that assessment, we need to consider sort of the parking requirements. Again, the requirements are in this kind of facility, 1 space per 10 storage units plus 1 space for employees. The 2007 preliminary approval, again, had 263 units proposed, no employees, 27 spaces required, 24 on site, 3 in phase 1 site. The revised plan, phase 2, is proposing 278 storage units, thus requiring 28 parking spaces because still there's no office being proposed. So that's the overview of the parking. In terms of VUA landscaping, states here that how VUAs are defined. Basically, as I mentioned before, is any place that a vehicle can roll or be parked. In regards to the calculations of VUAs, once you have that calculated for interior landscaping, if it meets these criteria, meaning that if it's over 6,000 square feet, then it would require interior landscaping. Given the size of the property, all of the paved area would exceed the 6,000 square feet, and the required parking would be over 20. So they would be required to do the interior landscaping. They're proposing not to. Let's see here. And again, getting back to condition number 6, they do state that interior landscaping on phase 2 should be consistent with that on phase 1. And phase 1 included the area of parking spaces, the area of aisle widths, and the area of the entry drive itself. In communications with the applicants, it was noted that a lot of storage facilities do not have that. So I looked at the history of some of those types of development, created this table. It's not exhaustive. There are other storage facilities which are not included in this. But from here, you can see that there is certainly a trend that for the most part, they have offices. The only exception would be the current site under review. None was proposed. My thought in terms of none being proposed at that time was it was affiliated with phase 1. They'd work in conjunction, part of the same development. The language implies that. So why it's outlined in red is because they were approved for 27. You'll note that the one just above it, both of those are Scott County Storage Phase 1 and Phase 2. Those are the only ones that were required to do the required parking according to regulations. All the other ones, either in the first ones, it was not addressed in the records that are found, or they received a variance or a waiver to reduce that amount. And so those are reflected here. Those columns to the right show how they were assessed, and you see the majority of that calculation was based upon the customer parking area, the aisle widths in the driveway, and did not include the drive aisle. So it was kind of common for that to be the norm for calculating VUA for interior landscaping for that. Okay, in terms of the analysis, again, we don't feel that KRS 100.243 be applicable here. The idea of being unique features of properties, there are no unique features of property. So those two methods by which you can review and consider this particular application would not be appropriate, in our opinion. What might be appropriate is for flexibility, economy, and site design. And again, that's if the intent and purposes of these regulations, goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan are substantially met. In regards to parking regulations, the ordinance state that if there's any building or any use, they must have sufficient off-street parking space on the premises, so they will not generate automobile parking on any street as a result of normal activity. So they have to have spaces available on site. In terms of loading zones, basically loading, unloading space cannot interfere with established parking spaces or cause disruption in flow of traffic. The last one here gets to the standard, which is 1 space per every 10 units. In regards to VUA and interior landscaping, again, VUA is the entirety of where a vehicle may be parked or be driven. It's typically how they're calculated. In regards to the landscaping ordinance, I do want to speak about the intent, because that's a key component. So it states here, or it states in the landscaping ordinance, first item, is intended in the article is to improve the appearance of vehicle use areas and property abutting public rights-of-ways, to require buffering between incompatible land uses, protect, preserve, and promote the aesthetic appeal, character, and value of the community, and promote public health and safety through the reduction of noise pollution, air pollution, visual pollution, air temperature, and artificial glare. So that is the intent of the landscaping ordinance. Now, in regards to flexibility, economy, and site design, comprehensive plan has these stated goals and strategies for efficient network of streets and land uses, maintain, enhance, or built environment, form, and character, allow flexibility in land uses and site or design patterns with projects that provide public amenities or other community benefits. Typically, those are parks, things like that. Community benefits is not clearly defined, but if you think about it, you want to consider what would be entailed in a community benefit in regards to this application. Again, in terms of community forum, encourage development practices at site community-wide levels that are sustainable, protect agricultural areas, encourage development utilizing green building and sustainable best practices. Under the elements of environment, they include protecting air and water quality, increasing tree canopy coverage for the county to reduce heat island effect and to capture and sequester carbon, support green spaces, parks, and walkways, increase the footprint of the urban tree canopy, and encourage the adoption of sustainable practice at all scales. So, in regards to these requests, variance 1. Again, I like to kind of rephrase it to a variance to reduce the required parking from 28 to 0. Based on the information that we were presented with and analysis, we recommended approval of this particular variance request. The area for parking would be most utilized, would be temporarily based, it would be basically the loading and unloading zones in front of each of those particular storage units, is how I understand it to be. There's no office, so any office needs would have been met by going to the adjacent property, utilizing that space, because they were initially thought developed together, and many of the other storage facilities presented in phases, they would do that. You'd have one office space, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 would develop, and they continue to use that one office space. So we do believe, other than that one rule stating that each 10 units require a parking space, that it meets the intent and purpose of the regulations. Slightly in terms of comprehensive plan, which does allow flexibility if there's a community benefit. In regards to variance number 2, variance request number 2, again, this is if there's no parking, there should be no VUA calculation, and there should be no interior landscaping required because of that. Generally, we do not support that, and we would recommend denial of that particular variance request, primarily because of the intent of the landscape ordinance and what it states, the goals and strategies presented in the comprehensive plan, and so for that reason, we feel that in terms of the interior landscaping, the purpose and intent of the regulations and the goals and strategies of the comprehensive plan support enforcing the interior landscaping requirements. We would make a recommendation that since there is no office space proposed, that the interior landscaping following the sort of style or the way that Phase 1 had been done, where you calculate the area of the necessary or required parking spaces, the drive aisles, and also the area of the driveway entering the facility and accessing those spaces. That would be used for calculating the VUA, interior landscaping, and the interior landscaping would be subject to that. The zoning ordinance does offer a formula for how to do that, and basically 180 square feet per parking space, 400 accounts for the aisle width and the driveway to it. Multiply by 28, it gives you a certain amount. That's an easy way to address that. So in regards to our findings on this, there are quite a number, and I won't go through them again because I think I've covered them all fairly well. So our recommendations, based upon the information provided by the time that the staff report is written and submitted for distribution, was approval for variance request number 1, with the recommended condition that calculation of VUA interior landscaping shall include the area of the required number of parking stalls of the aisle widths and of the driveway in accordance with condition number 6 of the 2007 PDP approval. And then, of course, all applicable conditions of previous approvals. We do recommend denial of the requested variance for interior landscaping requirement as conditioned by PDP 2007-43 approval. So if you should approve that variance request, we do recommend the following conditions: that calculation of the U.S. interior landscaping shall include the area of the aisle width and of the driveway in partial accordance with the condition number 6 and the 2007 PDP approval, and of course all applicable additions and previous approvals. We have since received information, were contacted as a result of notification policy, got contacted by the owner of the American Mini Storage. So the Pioneer Plaza had been developed under a particular owner, and there's been some transfers, changes in names. It wasn't clear in looking at the PVA indications as who managed each of these particular businesses. So I did know that parcels 1 and 2, which include the American Mini Storage Plaza and the Phase 1 of Scott County Development, they're under a different name, and Phase 2 is under a unique name as well, August Properties. So we did receive, we were contacted by the owner of the parcels 1 and 2, American Mini Storage, and basically staff's recommendation for approval of the requested parking variance was based on the assumption that development of the project site was a continuance of the Scott County Safe Storage overall facility through 2 phases, and that office and designated parking spaces on Phase 1 site would fulfill the management and customer parking needs of the Phase 2 site. The 2007 approval of Phase 2 is based on that arrangement, as is supporting condition number 6, which reads to provide vehicular use area interior landscaping that is consistent with Phase 1 of this development. New information indicates that this is not the case as of 2021. Parcels 1 and 2 of the Pioneer Plaza have been under new management. These include the American Mini Storage Plaza and the Scott County Safe Storage Phase 1. Having received written notifications variance application going before the Planning Commission, the owner of parcel 1 and 2 did contact our office stating that ownership and management of parcel 3, which is Phase 2, is separate from that for parcels 1 and 2. Sorry, it gets a bit confusing. I should probably have a diagram up here. So we have new information that at this point it is not a combined project. The 2 phases are not working together, even though they share a similar name. So additional comments in regards to this application and assessing what the parking needs might be other than just for customers. You mentioned services, people coming to sort of investigate, friends helping people move. So perspective about parking requirements on parking and storage facilities became a bit more robust. And so these are cited as uses. So even if there's no office, the argument would be that this would require some parking on site. So we've not had much time. We did not have time to look at this information, these new understandings, to redraft a staff report prior to the required date for distribution. So this information is recently received. I think the owner might be here tonight. I'm not sure if he is and would like to speak. Certainly could allow for that. Okay, if not, I'm open for questions.
So are you recommending postponement of it until you've had time to review?
That's a good question. So in regards to this, I guess that, oh, hey, Holden. Didn't see you come in.
So yes, this is very recent information. The reason why staff hasn't made any further recommendation is receiving this information, we haven't communicated even with the applicant to see the other side of the story, so to speak. And so what staff would recommend is that you hear testimony both from the concerned citizens as well as the applicant and see if those concerns are addressed, and that if you believe that staff's recommendation would still be applicable or not, then you could either make a decision to override staff's recommendation or postpone until more information is gathered. But seeing as we have people in the room, we've already sent some people home, I think we at least need some testimony.
All right. Any questions from the commission for Mark?
So I want to make sure I understand this new information. So, and I see why you probably need to postpone it. Are you now saying there does need to be additional parking?
Staff has not analyzed it to make that determination.
But there may be the need.
Yes.
It's two different owners.
It's two different owners. It's going to be operated separately. That is the new information that just came up.
So no parking, two separate owners
Yeah.
is the current.
You're not going to be using the offsite office to serve the administrative functions of this office. Now, at Monday's work session, you know, it was brought up that a lot of this stuff is done online, digitally.
Yeah.
And so that was not in regards to, I think, staff's understanding how this was planned to be operated. But instead of staff talking about what the applicant would propose at this point, we would just defer to them to let them explain the logistics. Because it could be a non-issue.
Yeah.
And then there was also brought up at the very end of this that there was some question about some parking that was taking place or something that's stored there that's not been approved yet. Is that right?
So, on the aerials that we were able to see for this property, it looks like there is some truck parking that's going on there. It looks like U-Hauls or some similar type product. We had not previously approved a development plan to facilitate that use. Now, if this development plan were to be approved and it shows the space where those trucks are, that would, in essence, eliminate that use because you'd be populating spaces with, you know, storage units. And then separately, we advise the applicant that if they do wish to continue that use, that would need to be reviewed in a separate development plan.
And they're already aware of that.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Any other questions from the commission for Mark before we hear from the applicant? Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Brent Combs, I'm an old engineer. And as I get older,
Trying to retire, right?
trying to retire. As I get older, you know, I like it a little bit warmer, but it's a little bit much for me in here. Anyway, I don't disagree with anything that Mark said except for one thing. And that in other words, the way he's calculating the interior landscaping VUA is the way I've done it for years and years and years. What I disagree with is he's basing it on the required parking. And it just so happens in phase one, which I did, and I always try to follow the rules. So I showed the proposed parking equaled the required parking. So the VUA calculations were make sense with either one. But what I'd like to mention is that all the other mini storage operations in town, the interior landscaping is based on the proposed. Shopping centers. I've done shopping centers over the years where we had 50 or 60 more spaces than was required. So the interior landscaping was based on that extra space. Likewise, I've had some where they've asked for a reduction of 10 spaces. Whatever it is, whatever's on the plan is what's used for the calculation. And so that's the only thing I kind of disagree with is I don't think you use required parking for the calculations. I think you use what's actually proposed on the plan to base your calculations on.
What's the number difference from the proposed and the plan that you're talking about?
Well, right now, I've proposed 0 parking spaces because he's not planning on having an office on site. So now he and I had some discussions today, and that might change. But as I submitted it, there was 0 parking spaces because there was no office. And so that's why I said there would be 0 interior landscaping because there's no parking spaces. Now, there's VUA perimeter landscaping that we're doing. There's canopy landscaping that we're doing. So those still apply. It was just the interior landscaping. So if you go to any of the other American mini storage units, for instance, projects, you'll see that the interior landscaping and the islands for that are just for the parking spaces, which is typically from 6 to 10 parking spaces. So that's what I'm saying. And here's, for instance, the one on Lusby Path. This is a little different. This isn't interior landscaping so much, but best I could tell, they have 590 proposed units. So they should have 60 parking spaces. They have 6. The total VUA is 104,000 square feet. The VUA they showed for landscape calculations was 2,843. The required interior landscaping based on that would be 285, and they showed 300. And so I've got a list of 7 or 8, and in every single case, the interior landscaping is based on the parking spaces proposed and not required. So that's the only thing I wanted to mention there. And as far as needing spaces for site visits or this and that and the other, I don't use mini warehouses, so I'm not an expert on it in any way. But I can tell you that my experience is that the public does not want to walk anywhere. And so if they have a unit, they're going to drive to that unit and park at that unit. Now what that means is they're within 10 feet of their car. So if something comes up and there's some kind of conflict, my guess is they're asked to move their car and they move their car. So I don't particularly see an issue. Service people, they're going to park. If there's a problem with electricity in Unit 110, they're not going to park at the office and walk back to Unit 110. They're going to drive back to 110 and park. And here's some, I don't like artificial intelligence. That's not my thing. But when you go on Google now and do some kind of question, I guess it's using artificial intelligence. So this came from that, and so we can believe it or not. But the question I asked was, what's the average trip frequency for any storage warehouse unit? And it said 12.5% is at multiple times per week, and that's like a contractor or somebody that's actually working out of the unit. 18.3% come in once a week. 17.6% come in every 2 weeks. 28% come in once a month. 13.8% come in 3 to 6 times a year, and 9.8% come in less than 3 times a year. So if you add up the once a month and less frequent, that's 51% of the users of the storage that only come in once a month. And so, like I said, I don't frequent these projects, so I don't know. But my guess is if you went in any one day, you're not going to see more than 2 cars and just for a few minutes. So personally, I just don't see the problem when you have 25-foot aisles and every door faces the aisle. Now, what's becoming more prevalent is climate-controlled, larger buildings that have walkways down the middle. Well, so now we're probably at least doubling, maybe tripling the number of units without providing any this particular project's the old standard for all the doors on the outside facing. So that's really all I have to say. But bottom line is we'll make make do with whatever you all decide. So if you all decide you think it needs a few parking spots, I could go. Now, my understanding, and I don't know if this plays into it at all, but the owner of this track and American Community Storage been in discussions about them purchasing. So I hope that they can bring something to you and try to put that in. And I have no indication. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, from the staff side, relative to what you said, what's your perspective or response to what Mr. Combs said in terms of it being calculated on proposed from a UVA standpoint?
So there's really two things here. Number one, again, any previous variances do not create precedents for future variances. In staff's review of this, as Mark said, we're looking for variances that promote the public benefit and allow for flexibility. Now that VUA interior landscaping is a derivative requirement. It's derived from the number of parking spaces. They have asked to reduce the number of parking spaces, and again, barring the new information that found out yesterday, the staff was okay with that. Staff does not feel that it's in the public benefit to also then take away all the trees and interior landscaping that would have been associated with those parking spaces. This goes back to what we talked about in the workshop, the quality of the product. And taking away one of the requirements we don't think necessarily follows, then also take away the second. In addition to this, Mr. Combs' entire argument is that they utilize those aisleways as the parking spaces. They're just not denoted on the actual plan itself. If we were to make him denote those parking spaces, all of a sudden you would have that UA interior landscaping requirement. But again, it doesn't make sense to put a tree in the middle of the aisle. We get that. But it does still make sense to have trees where there's going to be this expansive parking. As Mr. Combs also pointed out, there's the perimeter, and there's the canopy coverage requirements as well. We know that he's going to ultimately have to meet those. We do still want to see those interior landscaping requirements met. It's a better product. It's in the benefit of.
Thank you. David, are you the other owner?
I am.
Okay. Is there anything you want to say?
If you don't mind.
No, I mean, I think it's relevant.
Do you swear or affirm, David?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just to kind of give a little backdrop, Mark Gray was the previous owner of the plaza, for many years. And several years ago, he contacted me and asked if we'd be willing to buy it. And we did. It needed a lot. It had a significant amount of deferred maintenance, as you may recall. So we made those improvements. We brought it, up to the standard that it's at today, and it's doing. It's healthy. Lowest laundry's there. It's one of the, but anyway, Mr. Carper did an excellent job. He reached out to me, answered some questions for me. I certainly appreciate that. The interior landscape is certainly not necessary. Doing around the perimeter makes a lot more sense. When you have interior landscape, it just creates problems with the weeds. Getting in gutters, getting in the dry halls, it's really got nowhere to go. So we have no issue with that. The only issue that we really have is the lack of parking. Even if there is no office, assume that there's a gate, a security gate, which almost every facility has a security gate. And I assume this one will as well. Whether it does or doesn't, there will be people that show up to help other people move. There might be a U-Haul truck that's delayed because it doesn't drive as fast. You've got 6 or 7 family members or friends that have shown up. I promise you, parking is needed. Even if we were developing this, we would 100% have off-street parking. And our concern is that people will show up and then block the drive-off and or the road, the access road. And there are things that just happen. There are units that get abandoned, and people come in and buy those units. They need a place to park if they can't get through the gate. Repair people need a place to park when they go. It just happened. We've got a lot of experience in this, and we're not trying to do anything negative, but we just want to protect the access for the road. Really is what it comes down to.
Any questions from the commission from David Joseph?
All right. Just to give you one real quick, I'll get out of here. The last project we did was on Paris Pike, the mini storage park. It's kind of a two-story right above Southern States there. And we went above and beyond to do extra landscaping. Now, we do have interior landscaping at that facility. It's probably not needed, but we were so sensitive to the community that we did the interior landscaping, we did the brick, we did the big windows. We tried to really, the nice black fencing, all that stuff to make it really nice. So we are, we're trying to be conscientious of, but there are 9 parking places, 9 parking spaces at that location, just to keep it.
David, how many units associated with 9?
We have 400 units at that location. And one of them is a handicap space.
So I guess then the question is, do we vote on this tonight, or do we postpone based off the late presented evidence? Mr. Combs, you have something else to say?
Oh, I was just going to ask, people were saying that we are, so what is the magic number? Does anybody have, I'm not necessarily asking you about.
Well, the regulations say 27.
Yeah.
But somebody somewhere sat down in a meeting like this and decided that's what it was supposed to be. It's like the speed limit sign on the thing. That's not negotiable on that. Now, we can negotiate here, but to go from 28 to 0, that's a little much for me. I can see 1 per, 2 per building, 1 on each end or something like that, or 2 per building. That would be about half what we're talking about now. There's 7 buildings there.
Yeah, but I've provided the calculation that shows that the aisles provide more than
And yes, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
So what we're really talking about is non-rent people. How many of those come and place to park?
I know every time I've moved my daughter, I've had to park somewhere, which has been multiple times. Yes, and I have to take that big truck and go park somewhere, and then we get everything out. We have to go move around. You need some kind of place to park. Some place to park.
So I'm saying,
Brett, how many units are you proposing?
we should ask the judge, the 200.
I think Holden's just saying what the regulation says.
Well, I think this is why what you were asking, because you're asking them on the spot, which is not,
Yeah.
that's not how we operate. And I think our staff, out of respect for them, land this at the last minute and expecting us to come, I just don't think it's right. I think you made a good suggestion, just postpone it.
Because Mark Gray tells me that when he had phase 1, he never had more than 2 cars that were empty.
And then there's also the standards.
So he had 28 parking spaces against 2.
So does somebody have a motion to postpone to the next meeting? I hate to keep, yes.
The applicant has requested for postponement.
Okay.
We can't, right?
And so it's at your discretion. You could just vote. If you're not satisfied, just vote it down. Otherwise, if the applicant would like to recommend a postponement,
Okay.
that might make it a little easier for
All right.
you guys.
Does the applicant, it's hot, my brain is hot. Does the applicant want to request or recommend a?
Well, actually, as I said earlier, we're not opposed to house rent. I'm simply opposed to how the calculations.
To how what's written, the regulation?
I'm not opposed to supplying interior landscaping based on the number of parking spaces.
But if I understand it now, the staff isn't completely comfortable with your approval of the first variance, the recommendation of that approval, based off the additional information that came in. So if I'm correct, while it's not on this paper, what you would say probably is this would no longer be a recommendation of approval, based off of this late information, because you can't really understand the situation.
Well, what I would prefer to do is with the additional information that's been brought to light, to have the opportunity to evaluate, analyze it in terms of even negotiate or discuss with the applicant in terms of parking suggestions, right? And weigh that, listen to the argument presented for that, then do an analysis and redraft the staff report and then present it. So having gotten new information, being able to incorporate that in the analysis would take a bit of time and some discussions with the candidate, the applicant, for that purpose. So I see the options as if the applicant is wanting to go through that process, so we can get it reevaluated and sort of come to some number for parking that would be proposed, present that to you, provide justification for that particular number. And in regards to the interior landscaping, based on that, yeah, Mr. Combs is right in terms of the interior landscaping. It's been based upon the parking spaces that are actually materialized. Most interior landscaping are centered around those parking spaces around offices that have been provided. They don't go into the interior of it. So it's common practice to be based upon just where the parking is. So that's something we could certainly consider, and having a defined number would help us to better calculate what that would be. And that would be consistent, again, with condition number 6, that the interior landscaping should be in line with the way it was done on phase 1, even though they're separately owned. And that they looked at the materialized parking spaces and the aisle widths and the driveway itself.
Or we could still just vote.
That's what I was going to say. Staff would be more than happy to work with the applicant, but if the staff would like to see this had action taken tonight, just leave the planning commission to vote. And if he would like to postpone it, then I would allow you guys to.
Mr. Combs?
Yeah, we're not opposed to this.
Okay.
I'm not used to that.
All right. Oh. Yeah, sure. If I'm sitting in your shoes, I'm probably gonna say postpone it, but I can't tell you what to do.
We'll request a postponement.
All right. Does someone want to make the motion?
I make a motion to postpone.
Okay. Motion to postpone made, second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Garrett?
You need to state the reason why.
No.
For additional analysis?
Well,
Is that sufficient?
your reasoning, that's plenty.
All right, is that good?
You need a vote?
All right.
Charlie, you need a
Oh,
vote?
I thought they did.
No, we had a motion and a second.
And all in favor?
All in favor? We haven't said that part yet, but. all
Oh,
in favor.
okay.
We're all getting testy at
In
times.
that case, I'm jumping ahead. Go right
Okay.
ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Well, I hope we're gonna go for this postpone, but I hope that will work.
Yeah. I think he said he would. Yeah. Work with the staff to, yeah.
That's the whole idea.
All right. Motion carries and postponed. Perfect. All right. We're just postponing all over the place tonight. It'll be a heck of a meeting next month.
I can feel the flu coming on right now.
The summer flu?
Seasonal allergy.
That's right. All right. Do we want to go ahead? Is the CPA here now?
Having that door open on the end.
No. All right. Nothing's happened to him.
On that too.
We might have to. All right. Item B and other business, the Live Smart amended PDP 2026 dash 15.
Again, I was similarly to Mark, not anticipating going to this, but I am grateful for it. This is an amended preliminary development plan for the Live Smart Studio Hotel located off of Summer Drive. In April, they requested and were approved for a hotel that is 3 stories with 89 rooms. They had several variances tied to that request. After review of everything and the like, they identified that they could fit additional, or they were interested in having additional rooms on the property. I think you see the number of requests, or number of hotel rooms from 89 to 99. With that, they do need to re-request parking variance, as well as a ratio of interior landscape area, because how the conditions were written were number specific, not the ratio specific. So this is just to clarify the record, should the board move forward and review that process. This is a 2.78 acre parcel, zone B2, a highway commercial surrounded by B2 off of Outlet Center Drive. Here's the aerial shot for the property. Here is the approval for the property in April. I believe there were 6 variance waivers associated with the property. A lot of them are going to continue to hold regardless of board action, specifically those related to some screening against the highway and the signage locations. They did bring a master sign package and that's been approved by the board. And this is their new one. So those old ones are going to hold, but they do need to reach, with this, they need to reconsider how I've identified the Peak Circle event. This is the previous one, and this is the new one here. They've added additional parking along this kind of drive aisle here to satisfy that ratio that they initially pursued and were approved for, which is a one space per one unit kind of system, which is this one here. The requirement for hotels is 1 per room plus 4 extra spaces for every 50 rooms plus 1 space for the staff, and then additional stuff dependent on amenities that you have, such as restaurants or conference centers. Their request is stated in the staff report is 99. Staff advised that they go pursue 100 to meet the staff requirements, the on-site staff requirement, and be 1 space per room. I'll let the applicant speak, but I believe that our conversation was that you guys could fit an additional parking space on that property, so going from 99 to 100, is that correct?
Yes, I believe it'd be possible to have an additional space.
So we would be amending from what the staff report is written as, by 1 additional room to then meet that requirement. There will be no additional needs to designate handicap parking as they exceeded the requirement, which is 1 for every 25 parking spaces provided on the property, and I believe there are 5. After review of all these things, again, with the limited capacity and the limited items that are available on the site, this is kind of a quick limited service hotel. You can look at the standards set forth by the IT Parking Generation Manual 7th edition, which is published in 2021, or 6th edition. A limited service hotel has 0.66 spaces per 1 guest room, so against the typical accepted standard for parking generation metrics and everything like that. Our regulations are already going to exceed that typical requirement, and then they have their 1 space for their user. I understand that I've expressed some things about certain user types having motor vehicles and kind of impacting the usability of some of those spaces. I'm going to let the applicant speak a little bit to how they're kind of pointing towards if that is something that the board needs to consider in detail. But from the staff side of things, staff believes that they meet the requirements for variance review and therefore recommends in favor of the request to eliminate, in this instance, 7 parking spaces, which is really just that that ratio of that 4 additional rooms, or 4 additional spaces for every 50 rooms requirement.
So just to fill out there, the waiver variance is item 1, the 99 changes to 100 in spaces, okay.
Yes, to adjust for the staff component of it,
Okay.
as well as the number of rooms that would match the ratio that they had previously approved for. Their second item that they are seeking kind of an amendment to is their interior landscape area calculation. The standard is 10% of the lease area to be identified in the highlands and then plant the trees accordingly. They would therefore be required to have 3,900 square feet of interior landscape area. They request to maintain that same ratio that they were approved at, which is 6.5% of the VUA be reflected in interior landscape area, which is 2,600 square feet, and then they will be installing the trees accordingly. I've identified in yellow those areas which are kind of creditable as interior landscape areas, that being the islands and the peninsula installations. Sam is also recommending in favor of this, given that they have a kind of flag-shaped lot. As you can tell here, it does kind of artificially increase the amount of vehicle use area they have to provide just to get to the building. Typically, these spaces are squares. This is a kind of an infill type commercial lot that just has not had a user ever, and so they are just wanting to pursue kind of that thing. They also have there have been some expressed concern about karst activity as well as their stormwater management regulations, and they want to make sure that they can satisfy all of those regulations, which results in a kind of reduction in the amount of parking spaces they need, and kind of in tandem with that, the ratio of the interior landscape areas. Additionally, on the east boundaries of it, there is a large amount of utility easements that travel along the interstate, which is consistent with how the interstate is set up. Put a lot of utilities there because you can't really put anything there in the first place. So they have kind of pushed the building over as far as they can, and then to meet their kind of root count that they're looking to achieve. And so staff recommends in favor of that kind of variance waiver request. The These are just some supplemental imagery from the stormwater and the geotechnical reports. I can't really explain them very well, but the applicant is present. They have the geotechnical expertise I'm going to defer them to. But these are just some good photos from the geotechnical report produced as a supplemental link. We need it, and our engineer needs to speak to address specific questions and have these for your guys' reference and knowledge. I am not a geotechnical specialist, so I defer that to them. Ultimately, staff recommends in favor of the two requests or amending the two requests from their previous approval in April, subject to the kind of findings and the statements that I made in the staff report. If this is ultimately approved, staff recommends 9 conditions of approval. First two typical do. Condition 3 has to deal with essentially restating their approved conditions or approved waivers variances from the meeting in April, just to make sure that they are affirmed and that they're not lost in the shuffle as they have increased the number of rooms. And then everything else that follows is also typical ones. So that's that there. And that is my presentation. Is there any, or I have any questions for me? Or I'll let that also tell me if you're wants to be on my mind. Do you have geotechnical questions?
Questions? All right, the applicant want to speak?
Thank you for the time. My name is Wade Morrow. I work for Grace Construction. We're a development firm, but we also build hotels, which is kind of unique. One other thing that's unique is I'm a developer with a civil engineering background, so I can speak towards the geotechnical anomalies of the site or apparent geotechnical anomalies of the site. I have my team here, of course. The engineer of records firm is here, our consulting, Brad Bowling Green. Of course, Mr. Sims represented us the last time we came over to the planning commission when we got the original approval. I have nothing to say other than thank you to the staff for the clear articulation of our requests, the work that we've performed with you guys has been rewarding. So thank you so much. Thank you for the time. If you have any questions for me, the developer and contractor.
Any questions for the applicant?
I think the question on parking for staff, the reason we kind of asked about having a workshop, I mean, how many staff members throughout the day, do you anticipate?
We call it the max shift. So during the max shift, which would be when we're turning over the hotel, there will be 3 employees. That is the max shift.
After people have already checked out and left?
Pretty much, and you can think about that there would not be an overlap, actually. To Lisa's point, we are exceeding the international standard. We're under the Georgetown standard, of course. So just keep in mind is that I think we're 33% above the international standard when it comes to extended stay hotel classification in the 6th edition of classification. We are more than happy to provide an additional space. I would not want that to get in the way of approval tonight. Let me know.
Read that last sentence, I'm sorry.
I don't want the one space to get in the way of a unanimous approval tonight, and so if the commission would like us to add space.
You can add the space.
By all means, we can.
So I think we should take him up on that.
Well, it's on the recommendation of the staff already, right? That one
To
space.
add an additional space.
Yeah, move it from 99 to 100.
You have a question?
Just, it's not on our sheet, but it's on the staff
Okay.
proposal.
All right.
So if we make a motion, it needs to include that it would be it's the amended of the amended.
It's the
right?
amendment of the amendment.
And we intend to comply with the conditions verbatim, so as they're written now, we're providing 99. So we would need, I guess, that to be.
Yeah.
The conditions of approval sheet does reflect the 100
Thank you.
per the conversation that we're talking.
Okay.
So we'll comply verbatim.
Yeah, we'll take you up on that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, I do want to enter into a public record, or into our record, the letter submitted by Mr. Jamal Patel of the adjoining property. You guys have provided it at the meeting, at the workshop meeting on Monday. I just wanted to make sure that it was on record that we have received that, you guys have.
And did everybody get the additional geotechnical information today in the email?
Now, did you post this stuff on the website so if they wanted to see it?
I'm going to look through the media door at Jake, who manages our website. I did not see him, but.
Or maybe a summary page? Or a summary of it?
The document, that whatever you guys have in your packet is included on the website
Okay,
by making sure
perfect.
that they can pack it together nicely.
Perfect. And I appreciate your efforts of going overboard on giving the public that they want to, it's there.
All right, is there a motion on PDP 2026-15, which would be the amended PDP and the amendment of the amended
I make,
to include 100 spaces? Yes.
I make the motion.
Okay, all right.
Second. With that space.
Jesse and Mr. Green, correct? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Not just for the purpose of the minutes, that amendment to the amendment is, it's 100 spaces,
100
not
spaces.
99 that's in the staff report.
Versus 99 that's in the staff
Yeah.
report, yeah. And I think we just need one motion for the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Canfield?
Yes.
Mr. Jesse?
Yes.
Mr. Stubb?
Yeah.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Thayer?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. All right. Come up and sign.
If y'all come up and sign the conditions, please.
All right, with that, I know we have the
One copy's for us.
audit still on here, but maybe we still don't have the CPA, but we also need to talk about potential dates. And Doc, I guess you, from the Cherry Blossom thing, you're still doing the Cherry Blossom HOA, right? You're their representative, and then Mr. Woodhull here from the applicant side. So we can look at maybe 2 or 3 dates that might work for most.
Is this going to be an additional meeting?
An additional meeting, yeah, a special meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so the staff's primary concern at this point is the KRS, it allows for 60 days to host the public hearing once the application is considered ministerially complete. This can be waived by the applicant. Obviously, we noticed for this deadline, previously the applicant has postponed several times. We would hope that the applicant would give us some grace and find a date that works. Absolutely. With that said, at least pulling out the calendar right now.
Disregard my.
Right now?
That's what we're talking about.
I'm getting there. I
Perfect.
Really hot.
What is it 7 to 21 days is the window that we would need? Okay.
Within 7 to 21 days of today?
So we need to notice. that
Notice,
it's 7 to
okay.
21 days.
Got it. Got it, okay.
Yeah.
But we need to have the meeting, I think Mr. Woodall said your request was within 30 days? Okay.
And so if we know that the newspaper, which I would like to, special policy is best practice, we have to notify the newspaper.
Yes.
And then it'd be a good idea if they can publish it as well. Or 2 separate things technically.
Yeah, that's 2 different things.
Yeah.
Put the signs up every time.
Yeah. Leah, we'll use some tape.
So the earliest date then is the 16th, right? 7 days and,
If the newspaper runs Tuesday and Friday.
Okay.
That's right.
so then that's the,
And I will bet you we are past the cutoff deadline to get something in the paper Tuesday.
okay,
So the earliest we can get something in the paper is Thursday,
okay.
which would then kick it off past that Thursday. So of course, I have this point. Let's be visual. Okay. We're here, notice the paper here, the earliest we could have the meeting would be on the 23rd. I would hate to do something on Friday. I would not do something on that Monday. I would ideally actually look to the following week. At the 28th would be staff's preference at this point. John, does anybody know anything going on July 28th that would prohibit them from being in attendance?
I will be gone that whole
I
week
will
on
be-
vacation.
Okay.
But that doesn't
That entire
prohibit,
week?
I mean, that entire week.
I
I'm leaving
will be
Saturday, coming
back
back the next day.
on, I think I fly back on Thursday.
Let's take a look, August 1st.
August 1st is a Saturday, please don't make me come out.
6th is a Thursday.
We can't do.
Yeah, that's Board of Adjustment. Could we do August the 4th? Again, Tuesday doesn't normally conflict with other standing meetings.
It'd be like a 6 o'clock meeting again?
Yes.
Yeah.
John, you said that doesn't work for you?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, at the will of the board, or the commission, we'd like to target August 4th. for
Do we
the
want an
special
alternate
call.
date in case we can't get
So
facility?
we'll check with quorum for everybody, and then I would just say the 5th would be next, because I would like to see this resolved as soon as possible.
And you want to try to get the school, like you said, or the
I would recommend the library.
library?
Yeah.
Is there enough seating at the library?
Yes, it's,
How many people
if you
they
put,
see?
and that's the other thing, we will look for the scheduling availability of these alternative sites to ensure that they have both the space and availability for us to actually go.
We did a neighborhood meeting at the library. It was, we had plenty of room.
You can open up
They have a
the walls
double
and
room.
just go crazy in there.
I think the capacity is 150 for the community room.
Yeah. That's,
Okay. But
How
the
about the
preference of the 4th, secondarily on the 5th, we'll make sure we have space. Does that work for the planning commission?
there is one more site, the Soil Conservation Office. That's a huge space. It's a public building.
I believe it's under construction, it's doing a lot of renovations, so I
The
don't
main
know
part
the
is the
accessibility of the,
Parking.
are you speaking to the ag extension office?
Yeah, the main, the original building.
They may
Well, I'll
be
tell
able
you
to.
what, I've got a meeting there. Take a look here. Relatively soon. I will go check it out.
I know
Like
it's a
said,
good
though,
building.
we will find the date as primary and we'll find the
Yeah.
venue secondarily. And we'll make
Extension
sure that we meet
parking
our
may be a
our
problem
notice
right now.
requirements.
James has noted that the parking is going to be an issue,
building.
if not, if the room's not gonna be the problem, and all the dust inside, the outside parking is gonna be a challenge.
Could be.
Because it's all gonna be all on that grass and everything, so we will make do, we will get a shuttle, everybody wants to volunteer their van.
Okay.
All right?
Okay,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Thanks.
Staff has nothing further on the night, by the way, other than it's time to go get some like slushy, right?
Right, yeah, because the CPA is still not here, so we'll postpone that till next month as well. All right, and motion to adjourn, oh, sorry, Mr.
Did we
Kirkland.
decide though that August 4 is the night?
Oh, and alternatively, the 5th.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion. Adjourn.